Today we're having another live session from Wings Academy. So, we're going to begin once the people start joining in with us. I hope all of you are doing really good. So today's live session will be on speaking module. Will be focused on speaking module. So tune in and stay with us so that you all know more about speaking module and how to crack speaking module very easily. Okay, so we are going to wait for a few people to join in, then we can begin with our live. Yes. Yes. So, yeah, we are going to wait for a few people to join in. So, whoever join in can leave a hi message so that I know, y'all are there. If it's the first time that y'all are joining in with us, kindly send a comment saying that this is the first time you're joining in with us. Yeah. Am I audible to you guys? Yeah. So, yeah, we'll wait for a few more minutes and then we'll begin with our session today. So, hope you guys are doing really well. Okay. Yes. Just hold on. Let few people join in, then we can begin with our session today. Yes. Okay. We'll wait for a few minutes more and then we can begin with our live session. So till then, whoever has joined in with us, kindly leave a message if you are having a comment saying if you're having any doubts in specifically in speaking module. If it's possible, we can discuss on that also today. Yeah. So if it's the first time whoever has joined, kindly leave a hi message so that I know I am audible to you people. So yes, we'll wait for a few minutes and we will start our session. So which part of OET module do you find difficult? Can you leave a message please? Can you leave a comment so that we can do come in live sessions on that? So whoever has joined, please leave a hi message, a comment. Hi comment. If this is the first time you are joining with us, leave the comment saying that this is the first time you are joining with us. Yeah, so these sessions are mainly formed for you guys so that you all we can have an interactive session. We can discuss all your doubts, all that doubts that you have in OET modules. So take the best use of it. Okay, have a conversation with us. Y'all can leave all your doubts and all the related queries about OET module in our comment session. We will be trying to solve those doubts for you in our coming live sessions on the present live session. So please leave your comment. If this is anyone joining for the first time, leave us a message, please. Leave us a comment, please. Am I audible to you guys? Okay, so I think we will begin with our live session today. So today's live session is from Wings Academy. I am Ms. Sharon. I am working as a tutor in Wings Academy. So today we'll be discussing and focusing on OET speaking module. We all know that you know uh, few of them find speaking module really challenging, especially when we come from when we are not English native speakers. So Yeah. So that's what we are trying to solve here. So today we are going to discuss mostly on um yeah, sorry about that. There's some connection problem. I'm sorry about that. Yes. So today we are discussing on OET speaking module. Okay. And in that we are discussing fundamental skills for OET speaking. We all know what is the OET module. Okay. If this is anyone's first time, can you all please leave a can you please leave a comment in the message, comment in the box saying that this is the first time, so that we can go according to that. Okay. If you all are beginners, kindly leave a message. It's the first time or beginners or something like that. So Pravin Banu says hi. Hi Pravin. Hope you're doing good. So whoever joined can leave a message, please. Leave a comment, please. Yeah. So yes. I am hoping that this is not the first time you are dealing with OET speaking. If it is, please leave a comment so that we can go according to that only. Okay. So today we are discussing. So today we are discussing on fundamental skills for OET speaking. So when I say fundamental skills of OET speaking, what do I really mean? See, our OET speaking module is not like the other modules that we have, or not like the other tests we have. Okay. What do we have in OET? OET, we are dealing with a real patient there. Maybe a person who is acting like a patient. So you're dealing with a patient there. Okay. While in IELTS, TOEFL, other exams that we have, we don't have to deal with the patient. We don't have to deal with the, somebody who is like stressed, or somebody who is like, who is going through a tough time. No, we have to deal only with an examiner. The examiner will be only, but here in OET speaking, we have to deal with a person who is first of all stressed, who is going to a tough time, who is having some kind of, some kind of problems that in life, that we have to be that compassionate person for that person, for that patient. So because of this reason, there is a special skill that we have to formulate in our OET speaking module. So today that is what we are going to discuss on. Okay. Okay, Praveen Banu, this is your first time. Okay, I'm glad you could join with us. Neetu says hi, hi. Okay, so whoever joins in can leave a message, comment. We can begin with our session soon. So I hope you all are understanding the importance of this class today, because I'm trying to teach the fundamental or the primary or the basic skills you all need to have in OET speaking. Okay. Because we are dealing with real patients there. We have to have that empathy, we have to have that compassion towards the patient. We are not here to show off our speaking skills, is it? We are not here to show off our speaking skills. We are here to show that we can be a good nurse to the patient. So that because of these reasons, we have to have the skills, to enhance our OET speaking module. Bindu Bhaskar says hi, hi. Yeah, so meanwhile, whatever doubts you all are facing, you all can please put your doubts in your comment box. Okay, so we can discuss that also as we go forward. So today's class is about fundamental skills of for OET speaking. So the first fundamental skill is introducing yourself and opening a conversation. Okay, now we have different settings in our OET module, speaking module, isn't it? Can you all just comment which are the different modules that we have in OET speaking? Can you all comment that, please? Yes, I'm giving you a few seconds. Just different settings we have in OET speaking that you all have come across, or you all have heard about it. Yes, I'll give you a few seconds. You can take your time and put in your comments. So this is going to be an interactive session, so you all can put in your comments. Okay. Okay. Neetu Deepak says home visit. Okay, yeah, home visit is one of the setting we have. Pravin Banu says community center. Hospital ward, very good. Any other more settings we have? Any other more settings do you all think? Where all OET speaking can be, done? Good. Neetu says emergency department, good. Good, good. So I think we have covered up all the settings. If there is any more you all feel, then kindly put a comment. Okay. So as we can see, we have different settings. Okay. Now when we get a role play, in our role play, there is a setting given. Okay. There is a setting given on what the type of setting. It will be sometimes home visit, sometimes it will be a hospital ward, sometimes it will be a community health center, sometimes it will be emergency ward. So according to your setting, you have to formulate your conversation. You have to know, you have to, when you see a when you see a settings, you know how serious the conversation would be, or how chilled out the conversation would be. Now in a home setting, you don't have to be like all serious, and it's not an urgent care that you require in a home setting. Like in an emergency setting, you can't be all chilled out and all, because patient will be coming with an emergency problem, so you have to talk accordingly. So our first skill over here would be introducing yourself according to your setting. Now when we come across different settings, we have to initially all of us know that we have to introduce ourselves, isn't it? The patient should know whom we are, isn't it? So first thing is that you introduce yourself. Now introduction should be according to your setting. Now according to your setting, the introductions will change. So first setting I'm going to give you all is community health nursing, the setting, community health setting. So what do you all think will be the correct introduction according to this setting? So you all can put your name saying that I am Sharon William, or I am Sharon, I'm one of the nurse working. So you can have this, you can formulate, you can form the sentence and put a small comment on the comment box, so that we can discuss on that. So first setting is community health setting. So how would you introduce yourself in community health setting? Yeah, school nurse is also one of the setting. Okay, I'm sorry I did not mention about that. School nurse is also one of the setting. Yes. So community health setting, how can we introduce? I'm going to give you all like 1 or 2 minutes. Okay. Any comments? Any comments? Okay, very good, Pravin Banu. I am the district nurse working in the locality. Okay. Neetu Deepak says, I am Neetu Deepak, one of the registered nurse working in this community health center. Any other more comments? Okay, you both are right. When we come with community health setting, you can say I'm one of the community health nurse, or maybe my name is Sharon, or my name is Pravin. I'm one of the community health nurse working in your locality. You can say that way. Okay. Next setting is ward. Okay. Now ward, I'm going to just give an example for this. How can you all say in ward? Again, you can put up your name. See, some people have a confusion whether to put up the name in the introduction or not. It is always good to put up your name in the introduction. It is not a wrong thing to put up your name in introduction. So it's just a word. So you can just say I am Sharon. I'm one of the nurses, one of the registered nurses working in this hospital. That would be the that would be the introduction for a hospital setting. Now for home setting. Okay, for home setting, can you all put up any comments for home setting? What do you all think would be the right introduction for home setting? For home setting, you're going to a patient's home. So how would you introduce yourself? So in meanwhile, whoever is joining in with us, kindly leave a hi message. Okay, whoever is watching us, can you leave a hi message, please? If this is your first time, leave a message saying that's your first time. So for home setting, okay. Think I'm gonna wait for you all to comment. Okay, okay. So for home settings, we home setting nurses go as a community health nurse. So you can just say, I am Sharon. I'm one of the community health nurse who is come to pay your visit. We can say that way. It's absolutely fine. What about emergency room? Do we need to introduce ourselves in emergency room? Some people say it is not required to introduce yourself. So in emergency room, what do you all think? Does it require, we need to require to introduce yourself or not required to introduce yourself? Kindly put a yes or a no for this type of, just put an yes or a no, I will understand it. Should we introduce ourselves as a nurse or should we not introduce ourselves as a nurse in an emergency room? Yes, please put up some comments. Okay, yes. Very good. Neetu says yes, we have to introduce ourselves. Praveen says if it is a minor problem, then we can introduce yourself. Absolutely right. It depends upon the problem that patient has come up with. Okay. Now it's of no harm if you say a sentence. Okay. You may not need to say a name, but you can at least say if a patient is coming with a serious problem and you're starting a conversation, you can at least start your conversation saying so I am the registered nurse working in this emergency room. Then you can start up with your conversation. If it's a emergency problem, if it's a very serious problem, patient is not really good, condition is not good, then you can start up that way. Patient needs to know whom he or she is talking to. Remember always that patient will be confused if you don't introduce yourself. You may not tell your name. It's not necessarily to tell your name during an emergency situation. But if it's a minor problem, if patient is come up for some blood transfusion or some minor problems like that, you can start normal with a normal introduction saying I am Praveen or I am Neetu. I'm one of the registered nurses working in this emergency room. That's enough. So the most why I told about this introduction according to your setting is because in your introduction lies all the power of your conversation. It is the starting point, like how we say na, see with the first impression is the last impression, is that kind of a thing. When you start your conversation and if you're not confident and you're not putting up your good effort in the beginning only, your entire conversation will be lagging or dragging. If they have a good impression about you during the conversation start only, they're going to be like listening to your conversation. They will be trying to give you more marks if possible. You understand what I mean? But you have to meet all the criteria, so I'm not saying that. But it's just that you have to put up a good effort. That's why having a good introduction of your about yourself according to your setting is very important. Okay, so next we have is after introduction, what we have to do is an opening conversation. Now patient came, you introduce yourself. Next, what we have is an open conversation. Okay, we have is open conversation now, isn't it? So when you want to open the conversation after you introduce yourself, what you can do is you can have a small talk with the patient. Now, when I say small talk, you don't have to talk about his wife and his children and your family history. No, none of that is important. Okay, according to the situation, you can start the small talk. Like small talk, as in like. Small talk as in like just to start the conversation, just to start to build up the relationship with the patient. So how can you start the conversations? Different ways of starting up the conversation you all can put in, like if it's a community health or emergency, how can you start the conversation? Can you all put in some comments? Yeah, can you all put in some comments? How are you all going to start a conversation in different settings? Any of them, one or two examples you all can put. Okay, Neetu has a doubt here. We'll come to that later. Okay, we'll discuss on that later. Yeah, very good. Praveen says, may I know the reason behind your visit? Very good. That's a good start of conversation that you have there. Any other more reasons? Any other more opening sentences that you can use? See, I'm asking all to comment the the things that you all know, so that we can validate the if the sentences are correct, if the information that you all have is correct. So kindly put in your comments also, so that we can discuss on that. Okay. How can I help you today? If what, then how are you feeling today? Very good. Very good. Good efforts. Anything more? Yes. What brings you here today? Yes. So, like our introduction is also based on our, on our setting. Our our personal introduction is based on our setting. Same way, our opening conversation is also based on the setting. Now, you cannot go and ask a patient, okay, if he or she is, if it's the setting is ward, you cannot go and ask the patient what brings you in today. That is a wrong opening conversation. Now, for ward, what all can you ask? For ward, you are going to the patient. Patient is already admitted, then you are going to the patient. So what all can we use there? How are you doing today? How have you been today? Okay, so these two sentences you can use for the ward patients. Now, when a patient is coming to you, for example, a clinic or a community health center, any of the settings, you can use phrases like, how can I help you? What brings you in today? Okay, what seems to be the problem? Then, what seems to be bothering you today? So you can note them down. If you'll have a notepad and a pen, you can just note them down. Okay, it will be very helpful for your OET speaking sessions. So I hope you all have understood. The first skill over here we have is proper introduction of yourself and opening the conversation well, using the right phrases for your conversation according to your setting. Don't forget to practice introduction and opening conversation for all the settings and keep prior to the exam. Have a notepad and just note them down and just practice and keep. Okay, so that during the examination day, when you are coming across different setting, you may get confused, and for community health setting you may speak like you're in the ward. For emergency setting you may speak like home visit. So you have to you know know what to speak in which setting. So that's why I'm telling you, write it down and practice prior to your exam. Okay, so that was our first skill. Next one is investigating the problem. Okay, now when I say investigating the problem, is it required in our OET speaking? Do we need to investigate the problem? Is it necessary? Can you leave a yes or a no? Is investigating the problem or the investigating behind the patient's presentation important or not? Yes or no? Yes, absolutely. It is very important. Only when you investigate the problem or investigate the patient's presentation, only when you know how severe the problem is, you can give the advice accordingly. You can speak according to the patient. Okay. Now we have two types of questioning method. One is open-ended question, one is close-ended question. So, what kind of questions do we need to use more when we are investigating the patient's problem? Is it open ended or close ended? Can you leave a comment? Open ended or close ended? What should we use more? Just leave whether it is open or close. I would understand that. Okay. Open ended. Very good. Anyone feels close ended question should be used more? Okay. Okay. Yeah, let's move on. We have to use open ended questions more so that we encourage the patient to speak openly. Okay. Now, what is open-ended questions? Now, when you ask an open-ended question to a patient has a lot to say, a lot to speak, isn't it? Now, close-ended questions will only give you yes or a no answer. They won't give you any more answers. So, start the conversation by asking open-ended questions, and then, of course, you have to use close-ended questions, but very limited. But you have to focus more on open-ended questions. Like, for example, patient is coming with a pain. Okay, so you have introduced yourself, then you have opened the conversation. Opening conversation is done. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to ask about the patient's condition. So you ask the patient, what brings you in today? Patient says, I have pain in my abdomen. Then you can ask, so Mr. John, could you tell me the location of your pain? If patient has not said about the location, you can ask the patient, can you please tell me the location of the pain? Then you can ask about the intensity. On a scale of 1 to 10, how severe is your pain? Or would you like to score the pain score in a pain scale? And you can ask the severity of the pain. I've just given some examples on the slide here. Okay, just some examples. So these are some open-ended questions you can ask the patient on a specific topic. Next, close-ended questions. How can you use? Do you smoke? Yes or no. Do you drink? Yes or no. Do you exercise? Yes or no. So try to use more of open-ended questions. Okay. Then close-ended questions. So that will be our skill number 2. Okay. That is investigating the problem correctly. Next we have is our conversation. So OET speaking module. OET speaking module, we know we have to speak. Okay. They are assessing our speaking skill. They are assessing whether they are conducting an examination for us, isn't it? They are not conducting an examination for our interlocutor. They're conducting our examination for us. So we have to speak sufficiently. We have to show them that we are able to speak, isn't it? So we have to show them that we are able to speak. It is conducted to show off our talent. I mean, not to show off, like, as in, like, you have to show them that you are able to have a conversation in the language English. Okay, so speak sufficiently. That does not mean that you are going to, not let your patient speak. It is not a monologue, it is a conversation. So, take turns. You speak as well as let your patient speak. Okay, it should not be that only you are speaking and no, you're not letting the patient speak. It should not be like that. It should be a balance. Okay. Next thing you have to, in conversation, you have to keep in mind is that you have to be a confident speaker. So, what are the things that help us to become a confident speaker, or how can you tell the examiner or the assessor that you are a confident speaker? Having a loud voice, could that help? Yes, having a loud, not loud as in you don't have to scream and all that. Just have a loud voice, have a clear voice. Okay, don't stutter. If you're a person who stutters a lot, you can practice at home. You can practice in the mirror, okay, looking at yourself in the mirror. So that can really help you. And try to avoid sounds like a lot of this is not acceptable. Okay, they would not appreciate it. So you can practice. Be a confident speaker. Okay, next tip for y'all is to be polite. Okay, even if y'all are a confident speaker, even if y'all are doing everything rightly, and if y'all are not polite to the patient, okay, or not polite to the interlocutor who's acting like a patient, you may not get a good score. Okay, so be polite in however you're speaking. Okay, the words that you're using should be in polite manner. Okay, even if you're meeting all the criterias but yet not polite, you're not going to get a good score. Even if you have a very highly qualified English language, you're using vocabularies fantastically, but if you're not polite, it is not going to help you all clear OET exam. Because in a real life scenario also, you will be dealing with a patient. You're not going to deal with an examiner or a random person. So you have to be polite to the patient. Okay, and one more thing is that when you're giving advices to the patient, okay, you're not assessed for your medical knowledge. Only your linguistic skills are linguistic skills are assessed over here. So what happens is that when we don't have that much of medical knowledge, okay, what happens, we're not ready to let out our speaking. We are just building this cage around us and we are just sitting inside the cage. No, they are not. Even if you all are speaking something wrong, it's okay, just continue with the go with the flow, go with those all these key points that they have mentioned in our role play. Okay, then you are not assessed for your medical knowledge. Because of that, don't let out your don't let the speaking just concise you, or you're not able to speak. Many of the students often say, I'm not able to speak because sometimes I don't know what to speak. Sometimes I don't know about that specifically, that that about that medical problem. Because of that, I'm unable to speak. That should not hold you back. Okay, always think that they are assessing you for your linguistic skills and not your medical knowledge. Okay, one more thing is that if um, if a patient, okay, you have different tasks given there, isn't it? If a patient is asking you the last task first, something related to the last task first, okay, don't try to be sticking only to your task. If the patient is asking you for a last task first, solve that task and then go forward with your conversation. Just go with the flow of conversation. Okay, you can't shut the patient. If the patient is speaking, you can't shut the patient and say, okay, this is not the first task, this is the last task, so I'm going to deal with you later. No, that is not the right method. You go with the flow of the conversation. You go with the flow how the patient is speaking. Only then you will have a smooth conversation. Okay, another tip for you all will be, do not rush, because it is a time-based challenge. I know 5 minutes, it's quite a less time amount of time for you all to prepare, to have a conversation with the patient effectively. I know that. Because of this reason, what happens is that students just rush the conversation. They just finish their all the tasks that they have to say. They finish it and they move on to the next task, because they're like worried like 5 minutes will get over and they may not be able to complete the task. Okay, according to our new OET, new OET rules and all, they say that you don't have to finish the entire all the task. If even if you don't finish all the tasks, it is fine. But what is important is being empathetic towards the patient, addressing the concerns of the patient. All that is important more than finishing your task. Even if you are left out with one or two tasks, that is absolutely fine. If you are meeting other criteria like empathetic speaking, addressing the concern, reassuring the patient, all that it is met, then you may not need to worry about anything. So far everybody is clear. Is there any doubt or anything that you all want to ask me in this particular time for regarding anything regarding conversation? Can you leave me a comment? So far everybody is clear with it? I hope yes. Okay, whoever join in with us, can you leave a hi message? Whoever is viewing us right now, can you leave a hi message? If it's the first time, let's leave a hi message, please. Whoever joined us, hi. Okay, yes. So far we have discussed about three skills. Okay, whoever was with us from the beginning, they know we have discussed on three skills. If you have missed out on that part, once the live session gets over, y'all can go back and just review it. Okay, no problem in that. Okay, so just briefing it out for y'all. We had three basic or fundamental skills for OET. So far we have discussed. Okay, first one is introducing yourself properly according to your setting and opening your conversation according to your setting. Okay, that was a basic first skill. Second basic skill was investigating the problem correctly using open-ended questions more than close-ended questions. Try to use more, but you have to both. You can use both, but try to use open-ended questions more than close-ended questions. Okay. Then the last point we discussed was on conversation. Okay. How to have a smooth conversation with the patient or with the interlocutor or with, okay. The next one we have it is empathizing with the patient. Sorry. Okay. Now, empathizing with the patient. What do we understand by that phrase? Empathizing with the patient. Okay. Empathizing is nothing much. It is just, trying to put yourself in the patient's shoes and understanding what the patient is going through. Isn't it? Just trying to feel what the patient is going through. Only when you empathize with your patient correctly, you can uh, think like the patient. You can feel like the patient. So it is very important to empathize with the patient, isn't it? So can you all please tell me few of the empathizing phrases that you all know? Addressing the concern, empathizing with the patient, reassuring the patient. This three particular things are very critical in our OET speaking. It is very crucial. Okay, if we have this properly sorted out, we know what to speak when, then I'm telling you, your OET speaking will be, your score will be much more improved. Okay, so what phrases do we have here? Do we have different phrases for different situation? Addressing the concern, reassuring the patient. Can you list down a few for me? I'm gonna give you like a 1 minute. Yes, very good. So we have few joinees here. Bina Saju, hi. Sonia Joseph, hi. Then Aji Chippy, hi. Good evening. Okay, I understand your feelings. I am so sorry to hear that. Okay, I do perfectly understand you. Very good. Any more? Any more that you all have? Very good. I can sense your feeling. Yes. Any more? Any more you all can think of when you want to address a patient? Okay. Think I'll go forward with it. All of you are absolutely right. Yes. Yeah, sorry about that. Okay. Now, when we say we want to empathize with the patient, okay, does it mean that you're going to only empathize with the patients who are like absolutely all right, who is calm in their mind, who is like having a good conversation with you? Only then you're going to empathize with the patient? Or is it that you're going to empathize with all sort of patient, even if it is an aggressive patient or an aggressive bystander? Is it true, or you're just going to empathize with good patients? Yes or no? You can leave a comment saying yes or no that if you all are going to empathize even with aggressive patient or not. That's all. Yeah. Okay. If even if the patient is good, calm, nice, talking to you, happy, okay, apart from that, patients who are aggressive, bystanders who are aggressive, it's not only going to be the conversation with the patient, it's only also going to be a conversation with the patient's bystanders also. Maybe you may have to talk to a patient's bystander who wants to talk about a doctor to you, who is not happy with the treatment, or maybe that patient's bystander is complaining to you that his money got lost or the patient has not been treated well. So you may have to talk to the bystanders too. Okay, so it's not you have to talk about good patients as well as aggressive patients also. If a patient or a bystander is not willing to accept you or is very aggressive, still till then also you have to show your empathy towards the patient. That is the main point here. Okay, so first you have to, for empathizing with the patient, you have to show the patient that you are understanding the patient, isn't it? So for that is what is called as addressing the concern. Okay, we have a few phrases here, very good, you have given a good effort. Okay, some of them I have put it down for you all. Okay, addressing the concern is just telling the patient, I know what you are feeling, I know what you are going through, I can understand what I'm going through. That is just what is called as addressing the concern. So few of the phrases I will just read it out for you all, saying, I know how you must be feeling. Okay, that must be overwhelming. I'm so sorry to hear that. I can understand your concerns. I can understand your worries. Your concerns are understandable. It's not unusual for people to react in this way. Okay, see, whichever I have underlined over there, okay, that is where I'm going to put stress. So always, use the right intonations when you're talking to the patients. If you're not going to use intonation, it will look like a dead conversation. Okay, you have to be a little dramatic when you talk in OET speaking. Okay, so I hope you all have noted all of this down. So that was about addressing the concern of the patient. Okay, now we have reassuring the patient. How is reassuring the patient different from empathizing with the patient or addressing the concern of the patient? What is reassuring means? Can you all leave a comment, please? Reassuring the patient. What does reassurance mean? The word itself will give you the meaning for it. Reassurance. Can you tell me the meaning for reassurance? Reassurance. Come on, think of it. Something I can think of reassurance. Addressing the concern and reassuring the patient. They're two different things. Good. Bina suggests assuring the patient. Okay. Okay. Reassuring is nothing much. Giving a little more assurance to the patient. Just reassuring the patient. Just telling the patient, you're assuring the patient, okay, as well as putting a little more stress to the assurance. That is what reassurance means. Now the phrases we use for reassuring and empathizing are two different things. Don't get confused with that. Okay, students often get confused with that. That's why I'm stressing on it. Okay, reassuring the patient would be phrases would be, there is nothing to be alarmed about. This phrase you can use for the sorry this phrase you can use for the patients who are coming to the emergency department. When patient is all worried and anxious about what is happening to that patient, then you can use this patient. There is nothing to be alarmed about. Okay, you did the right thing coming to the hospital. I appreciate you for that. Okay, whenever patient is after an accident or something happened to the patient, just try to appreciate the patient for the efforts he has put in. We nurses often forget to appreciate our patients, especially when it comes to OET speaking. Okay, when you give importance and when you know that when the patients know that we are giving importance to their effort, it means a lot in our conversation. It can make a big difference. So just come up, just you know appreciate the patient not only for coming to the hospital, but also when he's tried to put up some effort. Like if you ask him if you ask the patient, so do you exercise, then the patient might say yes, I do exercise. Then you can just appreciate the patient. So Mr. John, that's a good effort from your side, I really appreciate your efforts. You can just say that way, it will enhance your conversation. Next, you are in safe hands now, we will take good care of you. When patient is like wanting we're not happy with the treatment there, or maybe patient is just come and patient is anxious of being admitted, you can just use this phrase that you are in safe hands now, we will take good care of you. Okay, then we are all here to help you. Try to avoid much worries or try to not worry. Okay, then we have experienced staff to take good care of you. Do not worry when the patient is doubting your ability as a nurse or the ability of the hospital to take good care of him, just say this: we have experienced staff here, Mr. John. Do not worry. Okay. So this was about reassuring the patient. Are you all clear so far? Is there any doubt? Is there any doubt? I hope not. We're coming to the end of the session. Yeah. Okay. So our fifth skill will be, you know, when in our OET speaking, sometimes we have to give advices for the patient, isn't it? Maybe about exercise, maybe about diet, maybe about some medication administration, different diets, we have different advices we have to give. Okay. So what we have to do is when we are, fifth skill is persuading the patient for a change or trying something new. Okay. Now, in this skill, what you should be able to convince your patient to try something new or to make a change in their lifestyle or to make a change in their life. Okay. Now, this is depending upon you, how you put the information towards your patient, isn't it? So, can you all tell me, okay, if I would give you the scenario of diet, okay, how can you all start the conversation of giving advice to a diet, about diet, how can you give an advice to your patient? Can you all put in some comments for that, please, about diet? So whoever joined now, can you leave a hi message? Thank you for joining in with us. So you all can also take part in the we have the discussion session that is going on. If it's about diet, how can you give that advice to your patient? That's my question. Hi, Sonia. Yes. So, when we talk about diet, see, it depends upon your scale of how you're putting up to the patient. Try to take a well balanced diet, such as fruits and vegetables in your diet. Okay, very good. Very good. Any more suggestions you all have? Shijamol, hi. Okay, Parvin says, please try to include more vegetables and fresh fruits in your diet. Very good. I would strongly recommend you to do some dietary note modifications in your diet that will give more impact in your health, says Bina Saju. Very good. Okay, so your answers are not at all wrong, they're correct. Okay. Okay, Sonia says, take good diet. Okay, we can modify it a little more. See, now when we are giving advice to our patient, We have to convince our patient, but we cannot force our patient. I hope you are understanding what I'm trying to say here. Okay, we can convince our patient by being polite to the patient, but we cannot force the patient saying that you have to do this. So what you have to do is you have to avoid using should, must, need to. Okay, all this vocabularies you can avoid while giving this thing, while giving advices to the patient. Instead of that, what you all can use is I strongly recommend you to, I request you to, I strongly, I strongly recommend, I request you to, I encourage you to. Understood? I encourage you to perform exercises. I encourage you to take a good diet. So you can use such vocabularies that can help the patient to, try to think of a change. Now you have to understand, when you are giving a particular advice to a patient, a new anything new can be a little anxiousness. Now when you also are trying something new, you will also be anxious in your mind, saying that how would that be. So the same thing is applicable to a patient also. When you're telling something new to the patient, you have to understand that a change might be anxious, a change might be worrying. Okay, so you have to understand. You can also tell this to your patient. Mr. John, I understand. Mr. The name of the patient, Mr. John, I understand that this change is a little bit anxious or little bit worrying for you, but this is for your good. This is for your optimal health. You can just say it like this so that patient also feels secure. Patient also feels okay. My nurse knows what I am going through. Okay, you can just say that way. Okay, and first thing over here I would like to emphasize is never give advices to the patient unless you investigate the problem. No, don't give advices on exercise unless you have asked the patient whether he is exercising or not exercising. Don't give advices on the pay on to a patient if you don't about water, if you don't know if the patient is drinking water or not drinking water. You know what I mean? So always try to ask your questions and give advices. So first, if you want to give advice on the exercise, you should be asking question on advice. Okay, in the initial history taking period only, you can ask the questions about exercise, whatever you want to give advice on. Don't give advice without asking the patient what he or she is doing. Okay, students often forget that, so please kindly keep that in mind. Okay, then I told you again, understand that a change might cause anxiousness in a patient. Just understand it and tell him, verbalize it that I know, Mr. John, that this change might cause some anxiety in you, but we are here to help you, you know, but this is for your optimal health. You can just say that. Understood? Next one, don't force but encourage the patient. Do not force the patient that you have to, you should to, you must to. No, to be avoided, completely avoided. Okay, what you can use, I request you, Mr. John, to perform exercises daily. I request you to stop smoking, or I strongly recommend you to drink water 3 no 2 liters of per day. Okay, it is important that you take a good diet, you can say that way. Then it would be a good idea if you could walk for 20 minutes a day. See, if you be polite to your patient, the patient will be more interested in listening to you than giving commands to the patient. Understood what I mean? Hmm? And after you give the advice, okay, after you give an advice, just ask the patient if he's able to do it or not. Don't go on giving advices and you're not knowing if the patient is able to do it or not able to do it. So you can just say, um, like, so Mr. After giving advice on diet, you can say, so Mr. John, do you think you'll be able to improve your diet or add vegetables to your diet? Or else, Mr. Sam, do you think you'll be able to exercise for 20 minutes per day? Do you think you can do it for me? You can just say that way. It just sounds good. You're just letting the patient know that you are concerned if he or she is able to do it. Okay, so always ask the patient if he or she is able to do it. Okay, your advices. Okay, so that was our fifth skill. Next one is finishing by summarizing the skill. So what do you all think? Summarizing is important or not important? Can you leave me a yes or a no? Is summarizing important or not important? Summarizing at the end of your role play. Leave me a yes or a no. Sonia Joseph says yes, important. Okay, very good. Any more? Any more suggestion? Anybody feels it's not important at all? Okay, summarizing is very important. Okay, now it depends upon your time limit. Now if you've already like crossed, like when you keep when you're even when you're practicing and also when you're doing your examination, okay, you'll know when there is a, like we have 5 minutes of time, is it not? 5 minutes of time. When it is the end of the fourth minute, you can start summarizing your patient. Supposingly you haven't completed your conversation at all, then it's okay. Summarizing is may not be able you may not be able to summarize it, but try to summarize always. And when you don't have much of a topic to talk about, when you have already finished your conversation and there is still time lagging, summarize your conversation. Okay, now when I say summarizing your conversation, I don't usually I'm not only talking about summarizing what you have said, what advices you have given. Also, yes, your advices, your recommendations is of importance only for summarization, but also summarize what the patient has said. Okay, yeah. So you know, you can just I've just put up some examples for you there. Okay, in meanwhile I'm also reading the comments, that's why I'm looking here and there. Don't mind, it's not that I'm looking somewhere else, I'm just looking at the comments here. Okay, yes. So we have put up some few examples for you. Okay, now I put the first example is, so Mr. Sam, we have talked about your concern on a healthy diet and we have discussed on. Now the patients, think of a scenario that Mr. Sam has come to you for dietary intake advices. Doctor has sent to his GP has sent him to you for dietary related advices. Okay, so now how can you like put up in a summarization form is, so Mr. Sam, we have talked about your concerns on healthy diet and we have discussed on low sodium intake or avoiding junk food or fast foods, you know and something like that. So then you can say, and we have discussed on, and you can put up all your discussion, whatever you have discussed, whatever your advice. So what we have put up here, Mr. Sam, we have spoken that Sam, we have included what Sam had the concern on, then we are talking about how we are what we have discussed on. So that is a very good way of summarizing your topic. Okay, now second one we have here is, all right, Mr. James, let me review what we have discussed today. Okay, so if James has come to you because of some insulin administration thing, so you can just say, all right, Mr. James, let me review what we have discussed today. That is insulin administration, site preparation. So you can just brief it out. You don't have to tell the entire thing again. Okay, so summarization, it's all about summarization. It is very important to summarize. If you have time left, you can summarize. It's a very good option to cover up your time. You don't be like after 4 minutes you won't be sitting idle there. You can at least summarize and try to cover up for your time. Okay, so these were the few skills, important fundamental skills for speaking module to get good marks for your speaking modules and crack your speaking module actually. Okay, is there any doubt? We've come to an end to a session. Is there any doubt? Yes, so we'll discuss a few doubts over here that you all had mentioned previously. Starting from Neetu Deepak. Okay. In nowadays, some cars just now examine the patient. In such cases, how to start the introduction. Okay, if in your role play, Neetu, if in your role play it is mentioned that the patient has been examined by the doctor, okay, you can just start. It will be mostly in a emergency department. I think you're referring to an emergency department. So what you can do is, hi, Mr. Good evening, Mr. John. I am Sharon, or I am one of the registered nurse working in this emergency department. Okay, so as your report suggests, you can start this way. As your report suggests, or as your case suggests, you have met with an accident. So you can start up like this. Okay, then you can start with the conversation. Or as your wound suggests, or as the doctor suggests, you can start something like that. You may not have to do the examination again, because it is already mentioned that the examination has been done. Now, cases when patient, now examination is also a tricky thing. Okay, now if a patient has come to the emergency department, if the patient has come to an emergency department, and if it's like just arrived and there is no examination done, then it's your responsibility to do the examination. But patient has been there for a while, like 1 or 2 hours, no need to go and do examination again. That is what students get confused, when to do the examination. The patient is there for a while, meaning patient has already been seen by somebody. You don't have to do the examination there. Only if the patient has just arrived, you can do the examination. Okay. Then Beena said you had a doubt, saying that can we use would? If we are using in sentences like would in a sentence, like Mr. John would go in like an conditional sentence. So I don't think would be the right word to use there. Could can be used, yes. If Mr. John, you could start exercising from tomorrow. You could is fine, but would is not right. Yes. Anything more? Any more doubts? Yes. Aggressive patient, how can we start the conversation, says Beena Saju. Okay, we'll be coming up with the next class regarding that. But in case you have an aggressive patient, I'm just giving an example to you all. If you have a bystander, okay, who is not really happy with your or maybe a patient who is not really happy with the treatment, and he wants to discharge, and he is very frustrated and angry and wants to leave the hospital. So first you are going to begin, I'm going to say, hi Mr. John, I am Miss Sharon, I'm one of the registered nurses working in this hospital. You look worried today. Is everything all right? Or else I can say, you look bothered. Is anything bothering you? You look worried. Is anything bothering you? I can just ask that way. So he will explain to his problem to me. Next step that you have to do is you have to calm him down. Just say, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry you had a bad day. I'm so sorry you had to go through that. Just say sorry to the patient. Just trying to let the patient know that I am very sorry to hear that he has been through that situation. Just calm him down. If he's not ready to explain the problem to you, okay, after you say what is bothering you, if he's not ready to explain the problem to you, just say like this, Mr. John. If he says no, I don't want to explain. I don't want to tell you my problem. You can just say, I know, Mr. John, it's a little tough time for you, but only if you explain to me the problem, or only if you discuss with me the problem, we can find solution for it. Can say that way. Okay, and then after that, after calming the patient down, you can start with the conversation. So I hope I'm clear with my explanation. Is there any more doubts? Have you got the answer, Beena Saju? Okay. Okay, I think we have come to an end to our session today. I hope this session was really informative for you guys. Tune in for more live sessions from us. Okay. Thank you for all for joining in with us. You all can share this video You can share this video. You can recommend our academy to your friends who are wanting to join OET. Okay, and please share our videos. Please give us a thumbs up on YouTube channel. Please, give us a like button on Facebook page so that we and y'all don't miss out on any of the video notifications that we have for y'all. I don't want any of you missing out on those. That's why. Please, I'm emphasizing to share this video, to give us a thumbs up, to like our Facebook page, so that we keep, it'll be such a motivation for all of us to keep coming up with more videos for you guys. Thank you. Thank you for joining in with us. I hope my explanation was really good, was informative for you guys. Thank you. Join in with us more. Thank you once again.